balikan ko, wala na po. Dahil napagsak na. Kailan ako lumabas, wala ko natulong, wala na po yung anak ko.
The whole approach, the whole strategy of this administration is really kill, kill, kill. Is that acceptable? Not at all.
No. Wala pang drug test. Magkano ba points on?
This woman is selling shabu, a cheap version of ice or methamphetamine.
Yan ang 10.3. Pwede na to.
She's just sold to an undercover police officer. Within hours, she could be dead. That's because she lives in the Philippines, where police have launched a deadly all-out war against drugs. As police prepare to arrest the woman, they know they have their government's full backing to kill anyone who resists. But is this country sliding dangerously into the dark shadows of state-sponsored violence, where police and vigilantes can kill with impunity? In just under 4 months, in raids like this, police have killed more than 1,650 people. Close to 3,000 more have been gunned down by shadowy death squads, many of which are believed to be working for the police. In this case, she surrenders.
This is not ours. Actually, no, sir.
And survives. She's caught with enough drugs and cash to make her what the police call a significant street pusher.
And what's the sentence for this amount of shabu?
Life in prison.
How long?
Life in prison.
Life?
Yeah, 40 years to 60 years.
The raids are all part of Operation Double Barrel, as it's called, launched by newly elected President Rodrigo Duterte.
I will provide the weapons needed to fight criminality, particularly drugs.
He's the straight-talking leader who called President Obama the son of a whore, named police suspects of drug dealing and declared war against drugs.
Do your duty, and if in the process you kill 1,000 persons, I will protect you.
He's pledged to pardon any police officer charged with murder as a result of shooting any drug suspect.
If he fights, and he fights to death, you can kill him.
The president's right-hand man in executing the drug war is this man, National Police Chief General Ronald De La Rosa.
Hopefully you are not spying on me. Huh?
Known as Butto, the Rock, his tough guy image and the war on drugs itself have made him a popular personality.
Never in previous years have we waged such relentless war against crime and illegal drugs.
The general has been travelling around the country awarding officers who have neutralised or killed the highest number of drug-related persons.
Which resulted in the neutralization of 3 persons of interest and arrest of 40 drug pushers.
But are all of those being killed by the police guilty? We've been told this unrelentingly hardcore policy is leading to mistakes.
Gemma? Evan, hi, how are you? Thank you for seeing us. Come inside.
Gemma Garcia shows me the hole left by one of several bullets fired into her family home.
Ito yung bala ng baril.
The gunman's target was her husband, Maximo, who was on a police watch list as a user.
And where was Maximo?
Here.
And how many shots altogether? 4 shots.
Gemma says the attack occurred just 3 days after her husband went to the police to tell them he'd stopped using drugs.
Basta lang siya, bigla lang dumating, yun na lang, magbabaril lang, wala na. Hindi naman siya uminig, basta binabaril lang po yung asawa ko. Gawan ako ng anak kong isa na panganay, sabi niya, Mama, may tama si Danica.
Just 5 years old, Danica, her granddaughter, was shot in the back and killed. Her mother Daisy was washing her at the time.
Bigla na po bumagsak na po siya. Pagbalikan ko, wala na po. Nabagsak na. Kailan ako lumabas, tumula ko ng tulong. Wala na po yung anak ko.
Maximo was wounded but survived. He's now in hiding, terrified the gunman or police will come back to finish the job.
Si Danica, malambing na bata yun. Kung ikay malungkot, nakikita niya nakasimangot ka. Palagi po niya kayong pinapatawa, sumasayaw mag-isa.
What do you want to see happen?
Sa akin lang mo, mabigyan lang ng husisya yung apo ko, yun lang.
Marami po natadamay. Hindi na ako nadamay.
A child killed by a stray bullet is tragic enough. But just down the road from Gemma's home, we were to find evidence of how shockingly indiscriminate this drug crackdown is becoming.
Alam mo lang na nabihibis kita, sobra talaga.
Terry Tiamson tells me her 22-year-old daughter, Rowena, loved singing in the church choir and was weeks away from graduating to become a journalist. Rowena, she says, was never involved in drugs.
Hindi siya.
Why? How do you know? How do you know that she wasn't?
Ano po, ma'am? Ako po kasi nagpalaki sa kanya. Alam ko po na alam niyang masama yun. Hindi niya gagawin.
The day after she disappeared, they found her body with a cardboard placard around her neck accusing her of being a pusher. But Terry was right. Police later said there was no evidence that Rowena was involved in drugs. Instead, an anti-drug death squad might have killed her in a case of mistaken identity.
Masyadong agresibo yung administrasyon niya. Yung agad-agad, pumapatay. Parang pumapatay lang sila ng pusa o manok na hindi naman kami basta magtao. Yung asawa ko, pero bakit yung anak ko nang bait-bait? Talagang dami-dami na magnanakaw, dami-dami na masamang tao. Bakit yung anak ko?
Now, the volume of killing here is quite extraordinary. In the 80 or so days that President Duterte has been in power, there's now been an average of somewhere between 35 and 40 police killings of drug pushers and drug users every day.
President Duterte, or the Punisher as he's known, has threatened to keep killing drug suspects until there are none left and to fill Manila Bay with their bodies. In the slums every day, that means dozens of police operations like this one, where the police told us they had just killed a suspected drug user. They told me he shot at them first, a defence used every time by the police. But is Rowena's mother right? Are the police just too aggressive, too impulsive in what seems to be a deliberate campaign to kill drug users?
here, you can talk to him. So
Okay.
he'll surrender.
Okay. Let's have a look.
Police often identify drug-related suspects through what's called a knock and pledge. Informers, former drug users, help the police identify shabu users and pushers.
Pwede ka ba namin makausap?
Ay, okay lang. Wala naman problema.
This man is one of the lucky ones. Instead of death, he's given a chance to get off drugs. Rehabilitation services can't cope with the surge in numbers. So instead, they're sent to local sports courts like this every Sunday morning for an unlikely cure. A weekly class of Zumba is their only rehab.
Can you join us? Come here. I will teach you how to dance.
In case their enthusiasm is tested, police are on hand to ensure drug surrenderees, as they're called, do actually attend these weekly classes. If they don't, they risk arrest, jail, or worse. 24-year-old Paul John Zamora is one of those who was told to attend, and for him, it was just in time.
Yung pinasuko kami nung kapitan namin para pagbabago namin para hindi na kayo matodas.
So far, 700,000 drug users and pushers have been arrested or surrendered to the police, many to avoid being killed. While some of them are given Zumba as a way out of drugs, many more are being sent to prisons to await trial, and that is creating another crisis. We arrived at Quezon City Jail, one of the country's biggest, at dusk. And just as hundreds of prisoners were marched out for the start of an extraordinary scene. Prison officials tell me the president's drug war is creating unprecedented overcrowding. There should be 800 inmates in here. There are 4,000. 61% of them are here on drugs charges. Dozens more caught in the drugs campaign are sent here every week. The true extent of this problem can only be seen by going inside the cells.
So this inmate is just telling me that when it's raining outside, they sometimes sleep here sitting up on the stairs. There's so many people in here.
They're sitting up, not being lying.
You have to sit?
Yes.
There are 100 to 140 men packed into each cell.
119. Here's 110.
Inmates find space wherever they can. They sit here day and night, taking shifts to sleep. I've never seen anything like it.
You guys, where do you sleep?
Saan daw kayo natutulog?
On the floor. And how many of you guys are in here for drugs related?
Taas lahat ng mga drug cases, lahat ng drug kaso. Oh, almost 70%.
Most of those on drugs charges are awaiting their day in court. Many could be here for years before they're even found guilty of a crime. As night closes in, prisoners who can't find space in a cell sleep on buckets to keep off the cold, wet floor. As we leave, we hear there's been another police shooting across town. Police had bought drugs, then moved in to arrest the man. He's now dead. And again, unsurprisingly, police at the scene insist the man fired first. Not far away, we find another police killing.
Ano nangyayari sa anak ko? Napakawalang yan nila. Nako. Kung gusto ko kailan natutulog.
This relentless killing has now also drawn the attention of the country's Human Rights Commission.
There are no other matters to be included.
Commissioners tell me that under Philippines law, a police officer who kills someone has to prove in court that it was in self-defence. According to Commission Chairman Chito Gascon, that is not happening, and without that, he says it's just murder.
Every single incident of this nature should be considered a homicide or a murder, and that the police should mobilize all their resources to ensure that the perpetrators are ultimately brought to justice. When the President says it will be bloody, then quick fixes and shortcuts may become the norm.
Many believe those shortcuts include the police use of death squads or vigilantes to kill drug suspects. They're not easy to contact, but after careful negotiations, we managed to convince members of a death squad to meet us.
Hello. Hi, Sheila. I'm Evan. You Ace? Okay, thank you.
Ace and Sheila, as they want to be called, are a married couple. They also run a death squad. They're among the anti-drug vigilantes responsible for executing suspected drug users and pushers. And they do it, they say, for the police.
How many would you say you've killed in relation to the drug war?
Start po ng May. Hanggang ngayon, nasa 20 plus na po.
They tell me most of their targets are pushers selling drugs for a senior police officer.
Kaya po pinapapatay. Dahil amo ko po kasi kilalang pulis. Medyo hindi niya na inaantay na baka ilaglag sila ng mga tao ngayon. Kaya pinapatumba na sa amin.
Do you think many innocent people are being killed in this campaign by the police or by hit squads?
Yan, meron po. Marami po.
They say when the policeman wants someone killed, he sends them the personal details, and they are given 3 days to carry out the hit.
Yun nga po, pagbigay ng identification sa amin ng tao na ipapapatay, pag-aaralan yun. Isang araw namin pag-aaralan yun, sa nakatira, anong hobbies. So, kunyari, pag mahilig po siya sa bar, pupunta ako dun sa bar na madalas siya. So, papasok ng trabaho, ganun. Tapos, kumbaga, i-spy ko kung anong oras siya lumalabas ng bar, ganun. So, pag nagkaroon na po ako ng pagkakataon, hindi ko na po pinalalabas yun. Tinutumba ko na po kagad.
Ace and Sheila have 4 children. Between them, they make almost $100 per kill. They say it's the only way to make that sort of money, but for them, it's no longer just about the cash.
Yun po, pag-uwi sa bahay, yung makikita mo yung mga anak mo. So, yun, nakukonsensya. Pero, mas iniisip ko po na mas masamang tao yung pinatay ko eh. Mas maraming buhay na masisira kung hindi siya mamamatay.
After a cancelled interview and days of trying, I finally managed to catch President Duterte's right-hand man, Police Chief Ronald De La Rosa.
You going for a shoot?
Shoot, yeah.
Is this competition?
I want to put to him some of the accusations I've been hearing about his drug war.
How do you answer the human rights critics, the people who say that these are extrajudicial killings, even if they're in an operation? This is outside the law, that actually you and the President are acting as judge, jury and executioner.
No, we are not. We are only law enforcers. I am not a prosecutor.
But people are being killed.
We are not judge. But they are being killed because we are defending ourselves.
We've been told that some police officers are actually involved in the drug trade. You mentioned it yourself the other day.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. We are building cases against them.
We've also been told that a lot of the vigilante killings are in fact being done to cover up for police officers, that these police officers are ordering hits against those who know of them. Is that happening?
That could happen.
What are you going to do about that?
Secret. Secret.
How
you
do-
will.
I'll come back.
I don't want to surprise you.
I'll
but
come
we are-
back. I'll come back
We
when
are
you're ready
doing
to come
something. We are doing something about that. We cannot tolerate that.
But as the official denials flow, the roll call of the dead grows. Relatives are left grieving in the knowledge that no police officer will ever have to justify these killings or prove they actually did have to shoot in self-defense.
The whole approach, the whole strategy of this administration is really kill, kill, kill. Is that acceptable? Not at all.
Leila de Lima is the country's former Justice Secretary and is now a senior politician. She's so worried about the violence, she launched a Senate inquiry into the drug deaths.
It is a state-inspired policy, inspired by the boorish, the bullish, the bold, intemperate language or statements of the president.
There are signs the president's conduct of this drug war is just the start of a new direction for the Philippines.
If you want to criticize me, you bring the matter to the United Nations. Kaya pagka ginanon mo ako, ang respect ko sa iyo is talagang minumura kita. Who are you to lecture on me?
The president now also publicly aligns himself with former dictator Ferdinand Marcos, raising fears of a return to authoritarian rule.
Killing is killing. Killing is either homicide or murder. And you cannot right a wrong with another wrong.
The president and the police chief say that drugs are a terrible scourge in this country and tough action is needed.
Everyone recognizes that we have a problem, drug menace. It's a scourge. And we laud the government for its so-called all-out war or intensified efforts against illegal drugs. But there are ways to do it without resorting to shortcuts, without summarily killing people.
In our last few hours, we hear of another killing. The lifeless body of this 28-year-old still bleeding into the drain. Witnesses say he was shot at close range by two masked men on motorcycles, another death squad drugs hit. The dead man's devastated mother says she'd tried to get him off Shabu, but that he was no pusher. No one will be caught for this murder. No one will even try to find the killers. Many here support a war on drugs. But they fear the way this president is allowing impunity to creep back in to Filipino society.
He promised in his campaign, Mr. Duterte, that change is coming, but to many of us it appears more like winter is coming. And it might be a long, hard winter ahead of us, and not everyone will survive winter.
Just days after we left the Philippines, the Duterte-dominated Senate sacked Senator de Lima as head of the drug death inquiry. Like many who criticise the president, she's been publicly vilified and even received threats, raising concerns about Duterte's increasingly autocratic style. In a statement, she said, They have turned people into weapons of destruction. Who would dare stand up for others now? The real victim here is the people. God save us all.